Hi guys, how's it going? Welcome to the next video. And in this one we are going to now start to take our level and we're going to start randomly spawning our enemies just outside the borders of the level, meaning that they will randomly come into play either at the top, at the bottom, at the left or at the right. So what I've done for the time being is I've just deleted my enemy test prefab out of the hierarchy. And now we're going to actually tackle how to get these guys randomly spawning. So let's get started. Under Tools, load up the uScript editor. And what you'll need open is the first script that we made, really, or one of the first ones, which was our level script, which is attached to our level, because technically this is actually a level rule that we have. And what we're going to have is at the start, we're going to set a random time between maybe 1 and 3 seconds. We're going to feed that into a delay, and then we're going to then spawn our enemy based on the delay, and then at a random location. So what we need to start off with is a uScript event, which is this guy. So just type in uScript and type in uScript event. So it fires an event as soon as this script actually, or this graph starts. Now what's going to happen is we need to set a random delay, really. And to do that, what we do is we are going to set a random float. So there's our random float, and we're just going to plug that in. And what we can do is under target float we can put in values here, or under min and max. I'm just going to expand these little ticks. I'm going to put in a minimum of about 2 and a maximum of 4. So it's going to give us a value between 2 and 4. I'll actually do 1 and 4. Okay. Then we need to output this this target float into a variable. So we're going to add a variable, an int variable, and plug that in. Oh, sorry, we're on float here. It's going to delete the random float and set a random int. So on graph start, random int between 1 and 4, and target that into here. Now we're going to add in a delay node. So here's our delay node. I'm just going to plug that in. Plug out into there, and just straighten things up. Under duration, this is the duration of the delay. So it's going to be set. Oh, that has to be an int. Apologies. So let's just go back very quickly. Type in set random float. Delete that out. Put our float back in. Min, max. Now I know why I've done that in the beginning. 1 and 4. Delete that out. Add a new variable called float. And target that in. Under duration we plug that in as well. So between 1 and 4 seconds something's going to happen, and what's going to happen is we're going to basically spawn our prefab. So to do this it's very easy. We just type in spawn, and we want to spawn a prefab at a certain location. So I'm just going to plug that in after the delay. Now the prefab name is going to be called enemy, because that's what our prefab is called in here. And now you'll see why we actually default all our prefabs into this resources folder, because nodes like this automatically look at the resource folders. If you have it in a different folder, you have to look in and type in a resource path. But for now we're just going to type in enemy. So that will find the enemy prefab and it will spawn it. Now this is our spawning position. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to type in a value of, just watch me for a second. I'm going to put it about Z of 30 just to show you what happens. So under spawn position 0, 0, 30. And then after it's finished spawning, we want it to loop back round to that random float. So then it'll pick a new random number and do it all over again. Like so. I'm just going to save this and show you what happens. Going to hit play. So between 1 and 4 seconds, it's spawning an enemy, it spawns another one, and it's just doing it at the same location each time. And of course, all these enemies can also kill us. Should have about 1 or 2 health left. There we go. So all these enemies can die, and they can also kill us as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now, we don't want him just to spawn in one place. In fact, we don't want him to spawn anywhere in the play area, because at no point you want to actually accidentally run into one that's just spawned. It's really bad game design. So what we actually want to do is we've created these borders, and our enemies should be able to just pass right through them. So we're actually going to we're just going to find out the location between here and here and create that as one spawn area. Here and here as another spawn area. There and there as one spawn area, and here as a spawn area. So let's get started. I'm just going to go back into uScript by pressing Ctrl and U. Now we're just going to move this across a wee bit. I'm just going to delete these links out. This is quite a big function we're going to start doing. What we want to do is we want to set a random vector. Just type those in, and we want to set a random vector 3 value. Okay, which is this guy. Now, what we want to do is we want to turn on the minimum x, max x, min y, max y, min z, max z. Now, because we never want our enemy to spawn on the y-axis, up and down, we're just going to set those to 0, just so that he's always planted on the floor. Okay, now this bit's a bit tricky, a bit crazy. So what we're going to do is we're just going to zoom right in, and we're just going to drag in an enemy, like so. And this is going to determine where he spawns on the top corner. So I'm going to move him just outside, like so. Just a second. And I'm just going to go into my static level objects, I'm going to click on collision bounds, and I'm just going to turn this little tick off, just so I can see past the walls briefly. I'm going to hold down the V key, select this corner of him, and just snap him by holding down V. I'm then going to create a copy of him, Control and D to duplicate. I'm just going to move my duplicate over, press F to zoom in, and I'm just going to hold down V again, select this corner, and snap one there. So now what we have is we want him to spawn between here and here. So I'm going to click this guy here, and we can see that the Z position is the same. This 50.5 is the exact same because he's not actually moving this way. So all we're interested in is this X position. Minus 49.5 is going to be the minimum. So in here, we're going to type in minus, let's try that again, hold on. So the Z position, sorry, minimum and maximum Z position is 50.5, and the maximum Z is also 50.5. So that means that on Z, it's going to lock to this line, or sorry, to this line, okay, the Z position. However, on the X position, we want his minimum value to be minimum X of minus 49.5, and the maximum to be 49.5. Okay, now we are just going to test this to make sure it does work and that he only spawns somewhere up there. I'm just going to delete those two enemies, and I'm going to plug in after the delay spawn, and then as soon as it's finished, go back, whoops, as soon as he's finished, go back to there, like so. So file and save just to compile this. Sorry, we missed one little thing here. It's going to delete that out. Under spawn prefab, we're just going to link those two up. And under target vector 3, we're just going to right click and add a variable. And the variable is going to be a vector 3. So this is the coordinate that it generates for us. And we're just going to put that into the new spawn position. So it'll spawn a random between here and here. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag this and very slowly edge across into there. Now we can file and save. Close that off and click play. So now what should happen is enemies should now start spawning at the top like so. Anywhere across that top line. Perfect. There's a wee bit of an issue with bullets here, but we're going to add that into our bug list. It's very interesting, that. So during game development we will encounter bugs. It seems to have fixed itself now for some reason. I'm broken for no reason. So something we will look at in a later bug fixing video. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to turn that off, and we're going to press Control and U again. And I'm just going to walk you through the rest of them. So that's one of them. Okay. I'm now going to create another 2 enemies, and we're going to do the same for the bottom. Hold down V and snap, this way. Going to Control D to duplicate and just drag another one across. All the way across over here. Like so. And then I'm just going to inspect these values. So again, the Z's going to be, the X is going to be different, minus 49.5, and the Z is now minus 50.5. So let's type those values in. Now what we need to do is under this random vector 3, we're going to copy and paste that right below. And again, we've already filled out the minimum X and the maximum X. I'm just going to double check that, minus 49.5, 49.5. However, this time the minimum Z is going to be minus 50.5, minus 50.5. So minus 50.5 and minus 50.5, like so. So now we've got 2 of these guys. Now let's just quickly do the last 2. I'm just going to delete this guy out, or I'm just going to leave him in actually. And I'm going to click this guy and just hold down V and snap him like so. Control D to duplicate, and we'll just throw him across there. And then we'll inspect these 2 prefabs and see where they're located. So this guy is minus 50.5 on X, and this time X will remain the same, like so. So now we just do another copy and paste. So under minimum X, we're going to type in minus 50.5, maximum X minus 50.5. But this time the Z values change this value. So minimum is minus 49.5, and the maximum should be 49.5. Remember, this is a square platform. Okay, and then for the last one, Control and paste, or Control C, Control V. And all I want to do is take this guy and duplicate him, move him across. I'm pressing F to zoom in, by the way. Oops, let's try that again. Like so. I actually want him to be there. Let's double check this guy. And again, I'm just going to inspect the values. The X shouldn't change. Well, it's 50.5 this time. That one's 50.5. So I'm just going to take out that minus value. This is the fourth random vector. And minus 49.5. So minimum Z is minus 49.5, and the maximum is 49.5, which we already have. The only thing we changed this time was the minimum X. So with that, what we're going to do is we're just going to move this. We're just going to full screen this actually. We're just going to delete that out. What we need to do now is we need to now set up a way of actually choosing a random one of these guys. And to do that, we use something called a switch, a random switch it's called. Click that in. So instead of after the delay we want to go into what's called the random switch. And under, let's see which one it is. Under max output used, we want to have a maximum of 4 outputs. So it'll randomly choose between 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're just going to plug this into this, number 2 into here, number 3 into there, and number 4 into there. So it'll randomly pick between 1 and 4, and it'll do that of a time delay between 1 and 4 seconds. So there's a lot of randomization we're getting here. Then what we're going to do is, just going to delete that. We are now plugging all 4 of these guys into here, so no matter which one is picked, it will still spawn a prefab at a certain location. And that location is going to be either this target vector, this target vector, this target vector, or this target vector. So let's say the first time this runs, it goes to setting a random vector 3 for here. It will write the value or the coordinate to here. It'll spawn. Immediately after, it's going back to our time, it's giving us a random time, delaying it. Then it's going to pick maybe number 4. It will then overwrite this value and it'll spawn a new one at a new location. And that is it, guys. So I'm just going to quickly save this because I've only got kind of going a bit long in this video. It's going to hit X. I'm going to make sure we delete these little guidelines. Just make sure I didn't delete a player there, which I may have. It's going to delete enemy, delete enemy, delete enemy, and delete enemy. And I'm just going to look at the top of my screen. I'm going to go to my collision bounds and turn those back on. And I'm going to hit play. So now our enemies are spawning. You can just about see it on my screen. They're all spawning from the corners of the map. And like I said, we have a little bug here with the projectiles not working properly. It's very strange, I'm not sure what's happening here. So like they say in game development, do one thing and break another. The enemies, or the bullets are still colliding and it's killing, so the bullets just aren't killing themselves. So that should be an easy enough fix. But anyway, I shall see you in the next video. Thank you again for watching.